Yo, what's up? Your boy Lil Trady back with another video. Now I'm continuing my series about the top 10 greatest players at each and every single position, as I just got done talking about 10 of the greatest point guards and shooting guards of all time. The card should be on the screen right about now, but I'm taking it a step forward as I'm going to be talking about 10 of the greatest small forwards of all time. But before I get started with this video, make sure y'all like, subscribe to my channel, hit that bell for notifications. Make sure y'all follow me on Instagram. The links down below in the description box. Let's get started with this video. And kicking us off at number 10, we got the human highlight film himself, Dominique Wilkins. Now, Dominique Wilkins, he might be a real back and forth player on this list, because Dominique, I be hearing a lot of people say he was the Carmelo Anthony of his era, and I could definitely see the argument. Sure, he was a great scorer, but outside of his scoring, he really didn't provide anything else. He really wasn't that much defender. He really wasn't that much of a playmaker. He was a decent rebounder, but outside of that, he really hasn't won much. He won a dunk contest, but number one, that's a popularity contest, so I'm not concluding that. And his playoff resume, it really isn't that impressive, as he doesn't have a conference finals appearance. He only has first round exits and second round exits, and he spent majority of his career with the Atlanta Hawks, where he has some of his best seasons, so I gotta take that into consideration as well. So he really wasn't that much of a winner, hence his spot being number 10 on his list. But Dominique, though, still an all-time great, one of the greatest scorers of all time. And the dunks that he was putting up back in the days, I ain't gonna lie, he was posterizing a lot of dudes. But number 10 is the highest I could put him. But coming in at number 9, we got Big Game James himself, James Worthy. Now, James Worthy, I think he's one of the most underrated players of all time, because I can see why. Because he played with Magic Johnson and Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, and when you play with two of arguably top 5 players of all time, it's really hard to get any recognition. But James Worthy, though, he wasn't there for the free ride. He was stepping up in a lot of big games, hence his nickname, Big Game James. As James Worthy, he won 3 NBA championships. He even captured a Finals MVP. People forget about that, because him alongside LeBron James are the only players to drop a triple-double in a Game 7 of the NBA Finals, as James Worthy dropped 36 points, 16 rebounds, and 10 assists. He won the Finals MVP as they defeated the Pistons in 7 games. So James Worthy, he was stepping up a lot in the playoffs, as his regular season numbers wasn't really showing, but in the playoffs, he turned into arguably the second best player in some of those playoff runs. And a lot of people don't talk about when it comes to Magic Johnson and James Worthy, as towards the end of Kareem Abdul-Jabbar's career, they were kind of carrying him on that offensive side of the ball, as they were able to win the championship, like I said, as Kareem was obviously aging, and they were able to get back to the finals in 1991, where they lost to the Chicago Bulls in 5 games. So James Worthy, he is worthy of being number 9 on my list. But coming in at number 8, the one and only Elgin Baylor. Now, Elgin Baylor is obviously not a player I used to watch back in the days, because I wasn't born in the 60s, obviously. But the numbers that I pulled up in the film that I was watching, he was easily one of the greatest scorers of all time. But unfortunately, he really wasn't that much of a winner, as Elgin Baylor consistently throughout his entire career underperformed a lot in the playoffs, especially in the NBA Finals, hence his record being 0-9. That's right, this guy is 0-9 in the NBA Finals. He even teamed up with Jerry West and Wilt Chamberlain to create a super team, and that never panned out, as they were unable to get the job done. But nonetheless, despite him not winning the championship and underperforming in a lot of key games, he was putting up a lot of monster scoring years, as in his 3rd year he averaged 35 points a game, and in his 4th year he averaged 38 points a game and 19 rebounds a game. That's right, 38 points a game with 19 rebounds a game. But it was the 60s, context is needed, and those numbers weren't conducive enough to win a championship, and him underperforming in a lot of key games. A is the highest I could put him. But coming in at number 7, we got the one and only Scottie Pippen. Now, Scottie Pippen, he might be a real polarizing player on this list, because we be digging deeper into Scottie Pippen's career, as people think that Scottie Pippen was this top 5 to 10 player that Michael Jordan couldn't win without, or you think Scottie Pippen was this bum that Michael Jordan carried to 6 championships. Am I going to get in that debate? That's a topic for another video. But let's go over Scottie Pippen's career. He was easily one of the greatest defenders of all time. And it really blows my mind, and it was really shocking that Scottie Pippen never won a Defensive Player of the Year. Like, for real, that should be a crime. But outside of his defense, he was a good playmaker, as he was able to lead the Bulls and assist a couple of times, as when they brought in Phil Jackson. Scottie Pippen was that primary playmaker for that triangle offense. So props to Scottie Pippen for that. And I gotta get to the negatives, unfortunately. And in the half court, Scottie Pippen, he was really not that great of a half court player, as he really wasn't that great of a shot creator. And sure, he was a decent 3-point shooter, but he really wasn't that special at it. And that led to Michael Jordan carrying him in the half court. And in the playoffs, Scottie Pippen shrunk a lot more times than people talk about. As in the last three-peats, Scottie Pippen shot below 41% from the field and 29% from three and 70% at the free throw line. And in 2 out of the 3 three-peats, he shot 68% and 63% at the free throw line. So yeah, that's really not going to cut it. And I hate to say this, he was really getting kind of carried by Michael Jordan as far as the offense goes. I'm not saying it was a complete carry job, as Scottie Pippen still gave you defense, he was giving you playmaking. But as far as offense goes, Michael Jordan was kind of carrying him at times, especially in the NBA Finals against the Seattle Supersonics, where he was just flat out awful. And sure, Michael Jordan shot efficient as well, but Scottie Pippen in that series shot 34% from the field. So yeah, I gotta take that into consideration as well. But it's not a knock to Scottie Pippen, still an all-time great, top 10 small forward of all time. But 7 is the highest I could put him. But coming in at number 6, we got Hondo John Havlicek himself. Now, John Havlicek, 8-time NBA champion, 11-time All-NBA performer, 8-time All-Defensive Team member. And with all those accolades, people think he's in the GOAT conversation. But we got to put those numbers and accolades in proper context, as he played in the 60s and the 70s. So I got to take that in consideration. But nonetheless, still a great player. He even won a championship without Bill Russell, and it was even on Kareem Abdul-Jabbar and Oscar Robertson's heads, as he was able to win the Finals MVP. He was a solid defender back in the days. But why can't I have him any higher on the list? Simple. Other players just accomplished more against better competition, and he played in the 60s and the 70s, so I gotta take that in consideration as well. But still an all-time great, and he is worthy of being number 6 on my list. But coming in at number 5, we got Dr. J, Julius Erving himself. Now, Julius Erving is easily one of the most iconic players of all time, because we all know his iconic plays, the dunks and the layups. I'm not going to get into that much, because we all know what they are. And Julius Erving, though, he was one of the best scorers at his time. He was able to win a championship in both the ABA and the NBA. He was able to win an MVP in the ABA and the NBA as well, as he's a 4-time MVP. And like I said, he won a championship with the Philadelphia 76ers. So he is worthy of being the top 5 small forward of all time. But why can't I have him any higher? I ain't gonna lie. He did have a really, really good team coming into the NBA, as he teamed up with Moses Malone. People even called it a super team, the way we compare it to the Golden State Warriors. So yeah, I gotta take that in consideration as well. And his production kind of did drop from the ABA to the NBA. So yeah, I gotta take that in consideration as well. But he was still a great player in the NBA. He was able to win an MVP, and he was the second option to a championship. So I gotta give credit to Dr. J, and he's the top 5 small forward of all time. Coming in at number 4, we got Kawhi Leonard, the Claw himself. Now we all know who Kawhi Leonard is. We all know what his resume is. 2-time NBA champion, 2-time Finals MVP, 2-time Defensive Player of the Year, back-to-back I might add. And outside of his resume, Kawhi Leonard is known for being more than just that. From stars being one of the greatest playoff performers of all time, as his resume is filled with a lot of clutch moments, as we seen through with the San Antonio Spurs in 2017, where he shot 50, 40, 90 throughout the entire playoffs. We seen it in 2019, where he had one of the most iconic playoff runs in NBA history with the Toronto Raptors, helping them capture their first championship in franchise history. And we even seen it with the Los Angeles Clippers in 2021, as if he would have never gotten hurt, they probably could have been NBA champions. But outside of his playoff exploits, Kawhi Leonard arguably might be the greatest wing defender of all time. Like, for real, the way they favor offensive players, there's a case that Kawhi Leonard might be the greatest wing defender ever. And with his career still continuing, him still in his prime, him coming back from an ACL tear, there's a really good chance that Kawhi Leonard can get higher on this list. But coming in at number 3, we got Kevin Durant, the Slim Reaper himself. Now, just like Kawhi Leonard, we all know who Kevin Durant is. We all know what his resume is. Two-time NBA champion, two-time Finals MVP, regular season MVP, and is one of the greatest scorers of all time. You can make the argument that he is the greatest scorer of all time, as he won 4 scoring titles, and there's nothing that Kevin Durant can't do on the offensive side of the ball. Post-ups, mid-range shot, three-point shooting, he could do it all. And on the defensive side of the ball, sure, he wasn't the best player in the world, but when in his time at Golden State, he was their primary rim protector. And with his career still continuing and him requesting a trade, if he go to a really good team, there's a really strong chance that he could get higher on this list as well. But coming in number 2, we got Larry Legend himself, Larry Bird. And like I said about Kevin Durant and Kawhi Leonard, there's really nothing that Larry Bird can do, like for real, as he was a great scorer and he also revolutionized the three-point shot. Sure, he wasn't like a volume shooter or nothing, especially in his era, but him and Magic Johnson saved the NBA, like for real. And he was also an underrated rebounder as well. People don't really give him enough credit for that. And he's a 3-time NBA champion, 2-time Finals MVP, and won 3 straight MVPs. Larry Bird is worthy of being second on my small forwards list. But coming in at number 1, was there really any question? It is King James himself, LeBron James. I feel stupid I have to explain this. You all know who LeBron James is. 4-time NBA champion, 4-time Finals MVP, 4-time regular season MVP, 2 of those being back-to-back, I might add. And outside of his resume, because we all know what it is, the fact that he's in a GOAT conversation solidified his spot on this list. And if you have a real issue with this spot and you disagree, please, I'm begging you, go and get tested for brain damage, because that's the only way that you disagree with this list. But that concludes this video. What y'all think? Drop your own list down in the comment section down below. This your boy Lil Trady signing out. Stay safe and have a blessed day. Peace.